Now on KGW News, a former Timbers player accused of domestic violence. The new recording suggesting his wife was pressured not to press charges. Plus,
the rude awakening before drivers discover costly damage up and down several city blocks.
but first, after 2 years, Oregon declares an end to the COVID emergency. And this time, officials say the changes should stick.
This time feels different, because it is different.
Your news starts now.
Less than an hour from now, indoor mask mandates will vanish on both sides of the Columbia. Good evening and thank you for joining us on this Friday. I'm Laurel Porter.
And I'm David Molko. The move marks a turning point in the pandemic, a new normal of sorts, and there is consensus among health experts. It's finally time to dial it back.
Our Alma McCarty was out talking to local businesses and their customers about the changes. And Alma, we know a lot of this is going to come down to personal comfort. What sense did you get of where most folks are at on that?
Well, people told me that generally they are relieved, some ready to ditch the masks more than others, and everyone hoping this is truly the beginning of the end.
Personally, I'm really excited for this all to be over.
After 2 years, many Portlanders are ready for a change.
I'm, got both vaccines, boosted, got COVID. I'm ready. I feel safe. I feel like I'm not putting anyone else in danger. And I literally can't wait.
I actually spilled a bunch of salsa on my mask right before this interview, which felt kind of symbolic of 'cause tomorrow we're done with them.
Oregon and Washington will no longer require masks indoors, in public places, or in schools.
Can't wait.
During the pandemic, John Blem's business picked up, with more restaurants in need of more propane to heat their socially distanced outdoor patios.
Just about everybody has said that if you can keep them dry and 60, they would prefer to be outside.
Though he thinks the change should have come sooner.
I think they held on to it a little too long.
On Southeast Division, some are holding out.
We just decided for ourselves what we feel most comfortable with.
Owners of newly opened Wallflower Coffee Co. will play it safe.
We will still require masks indoors, especially when interacting with guests and whatnot. So if you come up to the counter, we will require you to wear a mask. If you're seated, you can take it off.
You'll still be required to wear one in healthcare facilities and on buses, trains, airports, and planes.
We can close the emergency phase of Oregon's COVID-19 response and open a new one.
Oregon health officials say they'll be prioritizing those most vulnerable to COVID-19. The state will also continue to track the disease through wastewater and maintain a baseline of testing supplies and vaccines.
This time feels different, because it is different. We have higher levels of immunity. We have additional treatment.
And health leaders will continue to monitor the virus, especially new variants. Of course, you can still choose to wear a mask. And in fact, people in higher risk groups and those still unvaccinated are urged to continue to do so. For more, just check out our most read article right now on KGW.com.
Salsa on the mask. Definitely time to throw that one away.
Wow.
Thank you, Alma. Masks will also be optional in most schools starting on Monday, including at all Portland public schools. Some students walked out of class today in protest of that. They say the district made a mistake making masks optional. They're especially worried about immunocompromised people in and outside of school.
I think that, honestly, telling people that they are allowed to take off their masks is really selfish to people who don't have that option.
I feel very strongly that there are some people in our community that are going to be pretty heavily impacted by lifting the mask mandate.
The director of the Oregon Department of Education encouraged students and staff who want to keep wearing masks to do so.
Well, the Portland Timbers organization is facing some harsh criticism for their handling of an alleged domestic violence case involving a player. And now a newly released audio recording suggests the Timbers may have pressured the player's estranged wife not to press charges. Now, this comes just a day after the organization denied accusations it interfered in any way. Here's Kyle Iboshi.
The estranged wife of former Portland Timber Andy Polo claims the organization offered to help support her in exchange for not pressing domestic violence charges against the midfielder. And a new audio recording capturing a Timbers executive and another unidentified woman appears to bolster that claim.
Yeah, we'll try our best to get Andy to get you whatever you need. But if the DA's office, the prosecutor's office, calls you, could you let me know?
The alleged victim's lawyer, Michael Fuller, released the full 54-minute audio recording to KGW.
We thought that this recording might help explain the truth of what happened.
According to police reports, Polo was issued a citation after an alleged domestic violence incident in May of 2021. Roughly 2 weeks later, Polo's estranged wife claims Timbers representatives came to her home. We don't know who made this recording, but in it, we hear from the Timbers head of security and an unidentified woman. It's not clear who she works for. The woman describes resources available to the alleged victim of domestic violence, including transportation, shelter, and food. She also explains, through an interpreter, the charges against Polo and how a criminal case could play out or be avoided.
That goes to the district attorney's office. And then that office may call you to see if you want to pursue those charges. And again, you can say, yes, I want to, or no, I do not. Of course, we're hoping you say, no, you do not.
The Timbers declined to comment on the recording until after a review by Major League Soccer. The accusations of domestic violence led to the termination of Polo's contract by the Timbers last month. Polo's estranged wife is suing him in federal court, and today her lawyer sent a letter to the Timbers suggesting other defendants may be named, including the team, executives, or lawyers involved. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
And we'll continue to stay across that one. Well, it took a decade, but several victims of sexual assault are finally getting a semblance of what they might consider justice, because Frank Hall Jr. was sentenced today to 18 years in prison for multiple rapes. Investigators finally caught him after going through previously untested sexual assault kits. Survivors of his attacks testified against him in court. The kits had been sitting there untested until federal funds helped investigators catch up as part of a national project to seek justice and healing for sexual assault survivors.
Developing tonight, several people are dealing with damage to their cars after someone slashed tires up and down streets near Providence Park. And you can actually hear it happen on this surveillance video. Another angle from this business on Southwest Morrison shows a man walking down a line of cars and popping at least 12 tires. This was early Thursday morning. We found several cars still sitting in the street with flats tonight. The damage stretched across Burnside to several blocks of Northwest 20th Place near the Fred Meyer. Police tell us they did have officers search the area, but they didn't find the suspect.
Okay, on that note, time for a gas price check. They are steadily creeping up, and we're still above the national average. No surprise there. As of tonight, nationwide, you see it there. The average cost per gallon, $4.33. In Oregon, the average is at $4.73. Washington is catching up, by the way, $4.72 a gallon. By the way, Oregon with the fourth highest prices in the country.
Not something you want to catch up on.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness. What a beautiful day today for this Friday, but we're in for a change this weekend. Matt Zafino's in the Weather Center with a look ahead. Matt?
Yeah, that's right. And the clouds over the mountain foretold the change that's on the way. And many of you sent in pictures of these lenticulars. We'll have some of those for you a little bit later on. But when we see this type of cloud formation over the Cascades, it means the winds aloft are getting stronger. It usually means the moisture is increasing in the atmosphere as well. And that usually means there's a storm on the way within 24 to 48 hours. And that's exactly what it means this time. So we're looking at heavy rain for the valleys and the coast, about a ½ inch valleys up to an inch on the coast. In the wind category, 65-mile-an-hour gusts on the coast, about 40-mile-an-hour gusts in the valleys. And then, of course, there's Cascade snow, one of our bigger snowfalls in a while, up to 12 inches by later in the day on Sundays. The snow really ramps up tomorrow night. We've got a high wind warning on the coast. We also have winter weather advisory in the Cascades. We'll let you know when it'll all begin and what it looks like as we go to next week. A little bit later, guys. Back to you.